This is my D&E mock video. For my content area, I chose to do math. And for my grade level, I chose to do 8th grade. And the strategy that I'm implementing is whole classwork and group review. And I am specifically basing this strategy around students with autism. And my justification for doing whole classwork and group review is because a lot of students with autism have issues working in a group setting. They have issues communicating with other students. They have issues communicating with their instructor. And just overall, a lot of them have difficulty when it comes to completing their schoolwork or being able to sit down and focus long enough to read and understand and be able to implement what they've learned into their classwork. And so the reason I wanted to do group review and whole classwork is because in my classroom design that I'd like to implement, the students will be sitting in clusters of 4 to 6 students, depending on the space available, and they will always be working together. And I think this is really beneficial for students with autism because it gets them that exposure to communicating with other students, working with them, being able to pitch their ideas, and just overall being able to take the time to formulate their thoughts and be able to put them, or just being able to work with being comfortable with the students that they are placed with enough to open up a little bit and discuss with them. And not only is this beneficial for students with autism, it's beneficial for just all students in general because a lot of kids now just have issues talking, regardless because of technology. Everybody's so focused on working on the computer that nobody knows how to work in groups anymore. So this particular method will work really well for helping students develop those skills that they are going to need outside of grade school and outside of college. And I think the best way to use this in a math classroom is going to be in the I do, we do, you do format. And in the I do format, or a portion of this format, I as the teacher or just the teacher will be working through a problem, showing the students the exact steps that they need to follow in order to solve a problem. They'll show them where they can find the information to solve the problem, what formulas to use, how to set up those formulas, just how to keep their work organized so they don't get lost while they're working. In the We Do section, the way that I want to run this is with popsicle sticks. And I would draw a name from those popsicle sticks. So students are chosen at random. It's not just going to be the students who want to talk all the time. So in this particular case, the student with autism may get chosen, and they're going to be talking in front of the class, which again I think would help them develop their communication skills. And after a student's been chosen with those popsicle sticks, their name doesn't get set aside so they think, oh, I'm done. I don't have to contribute anymore. It goes back into the group. So there's always a chance of them getting called on. So every student needs to participate. Every student needs to be working. And they all need to be on the same page of understanding the material. And for the You Do section, this is where the work starts to elevate. The students are going to be given more difficult problems. They're going to be challenged to think, and they're going to need to work together. And like I've said already, the students who do have difficulty communicating with others, communicating their ideas, are going to be able to work on developing those skills. And I know that in my experience, a lot of the kids that I meet with autism are absolutely brilliant, and they just need to be able to work on developing those communication skills in order to get their ideas across. So if they have an opportunity like this, then I think they're going to be able to develop those skills and be much more comfortable with talking with that group of students at the very least, and being able to help them solve these problems that they need to work as a group to figure out. Now, obviously, with every strategy, there's going to be issues that arise. Students are not cut from a cookie cutter. They're not all going to be able to work through the same methods. So, some students are simply just not going to work well in groups. And in that instance, I think it would be acceptable for them to separate from the group, and we'd still follow the I do, we do, you do format for them. However, just during the you do portion, they would end up working by themselves probably, and gradually I would try to move them over more towards working with a group, but obviously some of them just aren't, it's not going to work. And I think the best way to resolve that is just me working individually with them as best I can, and as time permits, so I can make sure that all the students are understanding. And now this particular format, I do, we do, you do, works really, really well for math, just because it's math. There's a very concrete way to solve problems, but there's also ways, like multiple ways to solve problems that students can figure out tricks. They can help each other figure out easier ways to solve these problems, and just developing everybody's communication skills is always a good idea. And that's why I believe that the whole classwork and group review system would work really well for students with autism and just students in general.